On the heels of having gone to church yesterday, I was thinking about liturgy and how it affects our lives. There are all these ways in which we enter into a house of worship. We greet one another, we exchange certain formalities. Many of us will undertake in the liturgy a series of steps to prepare ourselves and to engage with and to understand how we approach the divine. And it had me thinking about the importance of rituals and elements of our lives that are shaping us because of their habitual nature, standing and sitting and, writing and speaking at agreed upon times. And it struck me that there's something about the nature of these activities. I'm reminded of Christine Campo, who has become perhaps one of the great voices that I've heard from the 20th century on this, when she says the most formidable language of all is the supreme intellectual beauty of the gesture, right? The gesture, whether it's a uniform worn in order to demonstrate one's participation in a particular guild, whether it's that greeting and the appropriate honorific, whether it's the shaking of hands or, in the case of a liturgical setting, even bowing. All of these things shape us and shape the way we see the world, the way we understand, and they're done as a source of habitual return to forms or gestures that themselves embody meaning. Well, in the course of conversation with most recently the philosopher Wes Siscoe, I got thinking about this and about how there's a kind of division of thought and action, of feeling and theory. And perhaps there's something in the gestures and the habits and the manners that we undertake in our homes, in our classrooms, in our schools that are actually shaping our souls, much the way a liturgy might in the course of worship. I think there's something in liberal education that should pay close attention to this. And I think there are people out there that are writing about it and providing some pretty good exposition of the work. I'll have Gwen Adams on shortly from the Habiture Institute, and we'll talk at length about the making of culture and how it works within a school. And I think it's probably the kind of thing that we ought to pay attention to on a daily basis, and certainly with intentionality, design our schools, our centers, our places of learning with an attention to those beautiful gestures, those beautiful and actions that shape our minds, our hearts, our very souls. So be thinking about that. We'll come back to it soon.